Hi everyone, my name is Kwan. Today I am going to share with you some realistic tips on how to budget and how to be more financially literate as a college student. A little bit of background about myself. I was your typical international college student. My tuition was partly covered by my scholarship and my parents paid for the rest of it. My parents also supported me with my rent and part of my utility bills. My part-time jobs are the stream of income that I use to cover for some of my utility bills, food expenses, clothing, textbooks, subscription. And because I'm an international student, I stick with on-campus jobs. And for a lot of on-campus jobs, the wage was minimum wage. I got my first on-campus job when I was in my sophomore year, and from my sophomore to my senior year, I have worked at different positions on campus. I have picked up more hours so that I can get a little bit more money for my spending. However, there's this pattern that I've noticed that even though I was working more hours and was making a little bit more money, I feel like the financial stress is always there. I'm always short for money no matter how much I'm making more. And I freaked out because even though people keep on saying that, oh, in college you will be the most broke you ever be. When you get a real job, you will make real money. But if I am not financially literate, if I do not really understand the flow of money, then no matter how much money I make in the future, it's going to flow away. So that was also one of the motivations that pushed me to pursue an MBA degree right after I graduated. Almost every people around me questioned my leap of faith from biochemistry to an MBA degree. But the only person who did not question me was my father. The only thing that my father keep on insisting to me was that I don't care whatever you study, but remember that the knowledge that you obtain should benefit you first before it benefits anyone else. In one of my favorite books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, also mentioned how money is a very emotional topic. As a college student, you are in this transition between childhood and adulthood, and you're learning how to take more responsibility. So how can you, as a college student, become more financially literate in how to make that knowledge benefit yourself? Let's find out together. There's a meme that I once saw on the internet about how kids are afraid to check their grades, how adults are afraid to check their bank account, and how college students are afraid to check both. And I definitely fell into this category. And I know that a lot of people feel the same. But the thing is, your problem won't go away just because you choose to ignore it. And when it comes to money, the best solution is actually to become more mindful and be aware of where your money flows. So first, face your fear. Establishing the habit of checking your bank account every day. This can actually hit many birds with one stone. First, if you have this subscription that you have long forgot about, if you check your bank account regularly and that subscription pop up, then you may be reminded to cancel that subscription. Or if your banking information was being leaked or someone stole your card and there was a fraudulent transaction, you can notice it right away. Also, to see how the numbers in your bank account increase or decrease is very similar to the feeling of taking your cash out of your wallet and feeling your wallet thinning out at the end of the day. So a very important step is to be more mindful of these digital numbers, because those are the ones that you have been working your blood, sweat, and tear off for. A lot of college students have a good starting point of downloading a finance tracking app instead of just using their regular bank account. I personally use the app called Truebill, which is formerly known as Mint, and this app does a great job as recording the spendings, categorizing them, and putting them into this beautiful pie chart. However, just simply looking at these numbers and these graphs does not do much, at least for me. So I figured that I should put a little bit of more effort into analyzing my spending. The first way that I do is that I rename the transactions on this app. So if you made a purchase on Amazon, it will be shown as an Amazon transaction. I would actually rename it. So if I've purchased like a moisturizer in a book, I would put that into the transaction name so that when I revisit my spending of that month, I will be more aware of the items that I purchased. I would also revisit the category because sometimes the app put the transaction in categories that does not really align and make sense with me. For example, Truebill would list my Kindle book purchases in the entertainment section. I want to move that into my education category. So you can do this with your transaction into categories that make the most sense to you. I take a step further. I copy the transactions reported by Truebill and I copy them and paste into a spreadsheet and start building up a financial report for myself. If you don't know how to make a financial report or you just simply don't have a lot of time, then you can prompt ChatGPT to do this. A caveat is that when you ask ChatGPT to prepare you a financial report, you can also ask it follow-up questions like, what do you think about my spending? Which category I can cut down on, and so on and so forth. It's just very cool. When I actually put in more effort into analyzing and tracking my spendings and my money, I am seeing my money more seriously. When you already have a clear sight of your money, of your cash flow, which category that you're spending the most on and which you want to cut down from, you have to start setting realistic budget for yourself. And don't be too general, like, oh, in this month I'm going to spend $1,000. You have to break them into different categories. Like, I'm going to spend $200 on grocery. I'm going to spend $50 on my software and tech subscriptions. When you categorize different budgets like that, you will see where your priority lies. For example, if you are saving for a new camera or a new monitor, are you willing to sacrifice cutting down the amount of fun that you will spend on entertainment or on eating out with friends? So when you set this budget, I highly recommend you to be super clear, super specific, and your standards have to be realistic. Because if you're being too tight to yourself, your future self will be discouraged from following this budget. I'm going to be super realistic here. As you can see, when I was a college student, my income was barely enough for my necessities and for my bills. In terms of saving, even if I want to, I wouldn't have been able to save a crazy amount of money toward my retirement funds or so on. But if I could go back, what I would do is that I would set out a small fraction of my salary every month into a fund that I can use if there is any special event comes up in the future without having to worry too much about breaking the bank. It's just like your backup plan, but it does not really stimulate any changes. To stimulate the cash flow, you have to invest in assets. As college students, I understand that we don't have the money to invest in crazy amount of stock, cryptocurrencies, or buying real estate. The greatest assets that you can build at this point is actually your knowledge. You can invest this money into courses and certificates that help you hone high-value skills. You can also purchase books that give you more knowledge. You can use it for tech devices and subscriptions that help you learn more and boost your productivities. You can also start investing in stock in small amounts to just learn and practice on how to do it. For young adults, budgeting, a lot of people stop at saving, but I really recommend you to set out an amount to really build your assets and build your knowledge, which would definitely benefit you in the long run. Money can buy you a lot of joy, but these joys come in many different forms. And because our resources is limited, we should be mindful about which type of joy that we're investing in and make sure those align with our values and priorities. Thank you for spending time with me. I'm no way a billionaire, a financial advisor, or an expert just yet. But these are the mistakes that I made in my college years, and I feel like I could have had more fun if I have known these tips sooner. And let me know in the comment section what was your favorite tip. Also, hit that subscribe button so that we can see each other again in future videos. See ya!